One of several things that we learned about the Georgia Bulldogs last year is that they need better running backs. Now, I'm not trying to hate on Trevor Etienne's season, and I'm not trying to hate on Nate Frazier, who had a really strong freshman season last year. But Georgia's got to get better in the run game. Now, you can blame Mike Bobo, you can blame Stacey Searles, you can blame the offensive line, but at the end of the day, Georgia needs better running backs. You have to have backs, and you have to have a running game if you're going to win a national championship. We saw Georgia 2021, James Cook and Zamir White. Georgia 22, Dejan Edwards, Kendall Milton, Kenny McIntosh. Michigan had Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards. And last year, Ohio State ran through a Notre Dame team for 200-plus yards that Georgia couldn't do anything against, right? And yes, a lot of that is the offensive line, but they need to start getting some dogs back in the backfield. They only took one running back in the 25 class, and in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the guys that they really need to sign in the 2026 class, because that group has a chance to play early in 2026, and they just need more elite backs, right? Elite backs have come through Georgia, and they've left. A lot of them have won championships, and Nate Frazier, I think, is an elite running back, but it can't be just him. Right? We have no idea what we're going to see from Roderick Robinson and Branson Robinson. And, Dwight Phillips is kind of a gadget, not a true running back. Chauncey Bowens, we don't know. Bo Walker, we don't really know either. But there are some guys I'm going to talk about in the 26 class that are elite and are game changers, and guys that Georgia is in on and have a real chance to land. The first guy I want to talk about is Derek Cooper out of Chaminade Madonna Prep, Hollywood, South Florida. This kid is a dynamic athlete, terrific runner, can play all over the field. 6'1", 190, so kind of a bigger back, but he runs a 10.7 in the 100-meter. This kid's electric. He's elusive. He's shifty. He can make defenders miss in the open field and then run by you all the way to the end zone. Kirby Smart made an in-home visit with him last week, and he will be back in Athens this weekend, February 1st weekend, for another visit to Georgia. Now, he was committed for a cup of coffee or two. I think back in the summer, he kind of backed off that commitment pretty early, but this is an electric back. He's ranked as the number 2 running back prospect in the country, ran for 905 yards last season with 13 touchdowns. Again, ranked as the number 2 running back and the number 23 overall prospect, and a guy that Georgia did have on the commit list at one point, but he is a difference maker and a guy that Georgia needs. They need those difference makers, right? It's nice to have one guy, and they've got one. But again, I think there's a big question mark in Georgia's running back room right now behind Nate Frazier. Now, while these guys aren't going to be on the team in the fall, they will be in 26. And right now, you just have to go get, regroup and kind of reload the running back room with difference makers. And they're trying to do that in the 26 class. I think they've got a good shot to do it. So Derek Cooper, definitely a guy to keep an eye on. But he's the number 2 running back, right? Number 1 is Saven Haider. He is also a top Georgia target and a guy that I can see Georgia landing. Now, Ohio State might be the team out in front behind the scenes right now. I don't blame any running back for committing to Ohio State, right? I don't blame him. So that could be a Buckeye-Georgia battle here. I think other programs are involved too, but he's the number 1 running back in the country, 6 foot, 190, size, speed, power, one cut running back type who can get up the field in a hurry. He had an in-home visit from Coach Crawford in mid-January, and the Dogs are in a position to, cement themselves as one of the leaders down the stretch. So if they get him on campus for an official visit in the summer, I think they've got a really good chance. Other teams involved, Ohio State, Tennessee, Michigan, but this is a kid who was, played at a lower school in Virginia, I believe. But no matter where you put him, this guy can run through tackles, he can run by defenders, he can make defenders miss, and he's slippery, right? It's good to be big, it's good to run fast, but you have to be able to slide through those holes that are there, or even when they're not there, and you've got to create. And when the hole is not there that you have to run through, you've got to break some tackles in the backfield, create, and take off. And that's what game changers do, right? And Nate Frazier has the ability to do that, but Saven Haider does as well. So whether you're putting him in private school ball in Virginia or throwing him in 6A football in Georgia, this is a kid who's going to do very well no matter where he is. He's the number 1 running back in the country for a reason, and the Dogs are in a favorable position. I'm not saying they lead right now, but they've been in the mix for him for a long, long time now. He's been high on Georgia for a long time. He's told me personally, hey, that's running back university. They're going to be, in the mix. And I believe behind the scenes, I've been told that Georgia's going to be towards the top of his recruitment the entire way. I'm not 100% saying they're going to land him. There's a lot of time left, right? And things can change quickly, but I do think Georgia's positioned themselves to be one of the leading candidates when there's time to make a decision. So, I mean, I'd put Georgia in the top 3 for both Derek Cooper, number 2 running back in the country, and Saven Haider as the number 1 running back in the country. I think it's important they land at least one of those guys because they've got to start putting elite backs in that running room. They've got to get back to doing that. They've got some nice backs. I don't know if they've got elite game-changing backs, and these two that I just spoke about that I think Georgia are in the top 3 for, those are guys that I think Georgia fans need to keep a close eye on. There's also some in-state running backs that Georgia fans need to know about. If you follow high school football, you've probably heard of these guys. Carson Baker played at Langston Hughes. Muscular kid, 6 foot, 190, runs a 10.65 in the 100 meter. And I mean, this guy just glides away from defenders. So he's got size, he's got speed. I don't know about the elusiveness, the suddenness. I don't know if he can put his foot in the ground and make 2 guys miss. I think he's done that before, but yeah, that's something I'd like to see more of. And maybe if I go back and watch more film, I'll see that in them. But he ran for 1,282 yards and 13 touchdowns in that region, in that area where he's running against top defenses week in and week out. Those are really good numbers. He ran for just under 9 yards a carry. And again, against quality defenses. He's the number 18 running back prospect in the country, number 207 overall. So that's not really going to excite a lot of Georgia fans, but the kid can play. Now, I'm not saying he's elite, but I think his speed might be elite for someone around, just under 200 pounds. So it's an Atlanta area kid who's been very productive, who does have size and speed, no doubt about it. So he's a guy that was on campus pretty recently. I think Georgia's doing a good job, and if they push hard for him and give him the green light to jump on board, I think they're in a strong position to land him. The number 1 running back in the state of Georgia, in my opinion, Walton, out of Central High School in Carrollton. He's been running through defenses since he was a freshman. 5'10", 210. 5'10", 210 pounds. So he's got kind of a thicker, compact frame on him, but he runs at 10.6. Again, you have to be able to run. You have to have some type of speed if you're going to carry the ball at the University of Georgia. And this young man has that. He's dynamic, sure-handed back out of the backfield. Ran for 1,387 yards and 14 touchdowns. But he also caught 39 passes for 646 yards and 4 more scores. He's an excellent kick return man. So this is a dynamic back that you can line up anywhere. And, as long as he's got the football, this guy has the potential to score. Anytime he has the ball, he can score from anywhere on the field. Just a really fun back to watch. Just a tackle-breaking machine who can run through you, put a shoulder in another guy, and then outrun a defensive back to the end zone. So just incredibly productive and has been every single year. He's ranked as the number 11 running back prospect in the country and the number 107 overall prospect in the country. So right outside that top 100. So a very, very impressive prospect, a solid 4-star, and a guy that has had a Georgia offer for a while. So he's definitely a back in West Georgia to keep an eye on. Now, a South Georgia running back with a Georgia offer is Jay Lamar out of Colquitt County. This is another really fun running back to watch on film because every game he's got about 1 or 2 kind of jaw-dropping runs where you say, okay, that's special. That is special. He runs with balance. He's great on the sideline. He's so tough to corral and bring down. 3 guys can be tackling him at the same time, but if you don't get him on the ground, he will slip out of that tackle, spin out of another one, and you think he's running out of bounds. He puts that foot in the ground and gets up the field. So his balance, body control, and his ability to make plays down the field, elude defenders, make guys miss. He is really fun to watch. He's the number 14 running back across the country, the number 148 overall prospect. So again, 5'11", 205. So a guy who's 200 plus pounds, making guys miss. And he's a top 150 prospect in the country. So another in-state back who may not be elite, but he's very good. He's very productive. Ran for 885 yards and 11 touchdowns last season, sharing the load in that Colquitt County backfield. But he's explosive and he can score from anywhere on the field. And there's a reason why his recruitment blew up like it did. So there are several really talented backs out there and 2 out-of-state backs who are elite, the number 1 and the number 2 running back in the country. And these are guys that Georgia needs to get back on board. They need multiple elite backs. That's what we're seeing from the programs winning championships. Georgia did have that 21-22. Kind of fell off a little bit last year, fell off even more in the run game this year. They've got to reload with elite backs, and I think they're in a position to land at least one of the very best across the country. They need it. They need elite electric backs in the backfield if they're going to get to that championship caliber program that they once were pretty recently. Got to get more running backs in who are game changers, and it looks like they're going to try to do that in this class. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you over on the website.